yeah, at that point, I only needed to save up like $3,000, which is, I thought it was doable, and that's because of Indiegogo. That's when Indiegogo came into play.
Nice. Well, how was that experience with like Indiegogo? I don't have any experience with any like fundraising things. How did that go?
It was the most humbling experience of my life, like truly. It was mostly friends and family, but I did a huge media blitz to try to get like the word out to strangers and stuff. So I was in newspapers, and like I reached out to radio stations.
Yeah, Cities 97 being one of them.
Yes, I'm very, very glad I did that. So thank you for being so kind to me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad too, because it's like it. Well, first it started before I got there, and then it was like a professional thing. But like now we're buddies, so that's cool.
I hope it never changes.
Right, right.
I'm glad I met you.
But back to Indiegogo, that was a success.
Yeah. A huge success, all thanks to Cities 97.
Yeah,
so thank you.
It's wild.
But no, yeah, we raised the $3,000 and then some, and then it was time for LA.
It must have been a trip.
Yeah, that was a heck of a trip.
Yeah.
I got to bring some of my best friends with me. My backing band is comprised of like my 5 best friends in the world, and so. My drummer was the only one old enough to drive the rental car in LA, and he'd never been out there before. Yeah. And so he was in the LA traffic. It was hysterical. So funny.
You want to go east? You want to go east?
Seriously?
Yeah.
So get up to Sebulba Boulevard?
Yeah, get off on Sebulba Boulevard.
And so then, how long were you guys all in LA for?
9 days, just over a week.
That's it?
Yeah.
All that work for a year, all that media work, all that Indiegogo work in 9 days.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Kind of blew my mind when it was all over.
Or so you thought.
Yeah, I thought it was over. It was not.
So what happened? I mean, you and I caught up like a year and a half ago. What happened after that?
Let's see, that was summer of 2013, and we started getting mixes back that fall. And we were only out there for 9 days and had that limited studio time. But there was still a lot that had been done since the time we left LA to when I got, final mixes back.
Right.
From there.
And
I was picky, high maintenance. No, I mean, what I heard was awesome, but, like I said, these were songs that I wrote years ago, and they were songs that I had specific parts to that I wanted, and I had specific ways I wanted things to sound, and it was just one of those things where, like, I wanted to change some stuff, and I didn't think it was, like, done yet, and at that point, Warren is so much in high demand, like, he was just working on so many different projects. He didn't have time, and I didn't have the budget to pay him for the time, even if he did have it, and so yeah, I mean, I couldn't afford to go back to him.
So then, what happens after that?
For a long time, I just sat with it, and probably too long I sat with it.
Yeah.
Like, over that whole like holiday time, like 2013 going into 2014, I was just, I'd listen to it and I'd try to convince myself that it was good enough, that it was done and like all that stuff, but I just...
But clearly from your tone, you weren't happy with it.
I was happy with what had been done. I think sonically it sounded great, and it was awesome, and I'm so glad that I went to Warren and that we had that time and I had that experience. But yeah, no, you only get one first record, and although they're not everything, like, first impressions are important.
Right.
And I wanted my first impression to be what I'd been hearing in my head for years.
Right.